This little one, I want to say she was about 6 years old, and she had been at the orphanage for at least a year, but she never spoke. And so she sat at a table with other little kids, but she didn't say a word. And they're all blind, but they're all chatting away, not her. And she slept in a room with also, they have, multiple beds in one room, never said a word to anybody. She would go to a small classroom with other kids, never said a word. So she comes to ride the horse. I was actually leading the horse that day, and one of her teachers, who's also now an administrator and in leadership at Bethel, we were walking in the arena, and then we went outside the arena to a small little trail right under the trees. The child's blind, so she doesn't know we're under the trees, but it's very quiet, it's very peaceful. And at one point we stopped, and we're trying to get her to say, "一二走, 1, 2, go," and she doesn't say anything. So her teacher said, chu 老师他说了现在你骑马 So that's all she said. Is like, now you ride the horse. And then that little girl said, "Chi," and we couldn't believe it because she said ride. And Chu Laoshi said, the horse is the key that unlocks the heart of these children.
That was American physical therapist Priscilla Lightsey sharing a moment she witnessed years ago, a moment that has stayed with her ever since. When we think of horses, we often picture them as working animals used to carrying goods, or as symbols of privilege, something only the wealthy can enjoy for leisure. But what if horses could do more than you've ever imagined? At Hope, I found the answer. Hi, welcome to this edition of Footprints. I'm Shunyi. Today, we explore the healing power of horses. Tucked away inside an equestrian club on the outskirts of Beijing, Hope, short for Horses Offering People Enrichment, is a non-profit organization that provides equine-assisted services. For more than 16 years, it has worked alongside horses to help children with special needs find growth, confidence, and connection.
Before I became a physical therapist, I was a special ed teacher, so I have always been drawn to working with folks with special needs. I would just say it's my calling. It's what I like to do. And so I was very, very fortunate. I have also loved horses my entire life, and this was a wonderful way to combine those two things.
Priscilla is a lifelong horse lover with a deep commitment to supporting children with special needs. And she is the heart and soul of Hope. Originally from Texas, Priscilla's love for horses began in childhood.
Because it felt like I always wanted a horse.
At the age of 10, she got her own horse. She still remembers every day after school she would ride her bike to the stables to feed her. Since then, horses have always been an important part of her life. In the 1980s, while studying special education in college, Priscilla encountered horses in a new context. During a summer camp, she was introduced to therapeutic horseback riding and saw firsthand the profound impact horses could have on individuals with special needs.
And I just thought, this is such a wonderful kind of marriage of two things that I really loved. And I could see how they complemented each other and how the horses could help the people with special needs. And that's what sparked my interest in this.
And that was the moment something clicked. She had found exactly what she was meant to do. Later, Priscilla spent many years working in equine-assisted services at a nonprofit organization in Texas until her life took an unexpected turn.
My husband's job.
In 2006, her husband's job brought their family to Beijing, more than 6,000 miles from home. In a city where everything felt unfamiliar, the language, the culture, and the environment, Priscilla was determined to continue the work she believed in.
There, I began to volunteer at this
Then, at an orphanage founded by an expatriate couple, she began working with children with special needs.
I would put them on a therapy ball, a big Swiss ball, and that's a very, very good technique. But I remember thinking, if I could put them on a horse, I have seen these children make gains much faster on the horse. And that was my impetus. That's why I decided I wanted to start this, is I wanted to be able to put these orphans with special needs on horses because I could see them make gains faster than if I was doing it in a clinical setting.
But that idea raised a critical question. Where could she possibly find a horse for therapeutic activities in Beijing?
I happened to mention it to a woman that was a friend of mine, and she...
Through a friend, Priscilla was introduced to Kelly Lau, a Beijing-based rider who had 2 horses. With Kelly's help, she connected with the administrators of a stable on the outskirts of the city. They agreed to let her run therapeutic horseback riding sessions for orphans, but she would have to lease the horse just like any other rider. For Priscilla, it was quite a challenge.
And then one of those expat magazines heard about me, and they wrote about me, and a woman who had a horse heard about it, and she called me and said, I have a horse that might work for you to do therapeutic horseback riding. Can I come visit you? And that woman's name was Nicole Bernard.
After seeing Priscilla's work with special needs children, Nicole generously offered her horse, a horse named Snipper. But not just any horse can do the job.
It has to be the horse with the right temperament, like the right way of thinking, and then the right way of moving. Like they have to have a gait pattern and a way of walking that will help the person that's riding. So Snipper had those qualities, and I worked really hard. I spent months and months, like about 6 months, training this horse, because that sounds really silly, but these horses, we do things like we ask the child to hold a ball, a plain old playground ball. But if a horse has never seen a ball, that's kind of scary to them. And so, like the first time Snipper saw a ball, he's snorting and his eyes get really big and his nose gets really big and he's like, what is that? And so we had to train him to be okay with the ball and things like that.
Week after week, Priscilla made the long journey, more than 30 kilometers from her home to the stable. For 6 months, she trained Snipper for a role that few around her could yet comprehend. At the time, the idea that horses could benefit people with special needs was far beyond public imagination.
But then when it came time to put the people on the horse, this was 2009. And I didn't speak much Chinese. I still only speak like a 3-year-old. I would never say that I speak well. So my friend and I were talking to them, and she said, tomorrow Priscilla's going to put kids with special needs on the horse. And they said, you can't do that. And I said, well, you saw me train the horse, and your boss, the owner of the stable, said I can. So we're going to do it. And then once they saw it, then they could understand why we were doing it, because they could see how beneficial it was.
And that was the beginning of hope. Quietly, persistently, and against all skepticism. It started with just one woman and a horse. By this point, you might be wondering, why horses? What is it about them that makes this work possible?
So a horse, in general, is very non-judgmental. They don't care if you have special needs, if you can't see, if you can't walk, if you have autism, they don't care. And a horse is also a prey animal, which means like in the wild, other animals might attack them, like a mountain lion wants to eat them. And so horses have this underlying characteristic of vulnerability, and it's similar in some respects to the participants that we work with. Many of our participants have to rely on other folks to help them do activities of daily living, and equine assisted services, from my standpoint as a physical therapist, it can help with motor skills and muscle strength and core development and sensory processing.
A bit of history here. Modern therapeutic riding is believed to have begun in the 1950s with Liz Hartle, an award-winning dressage rider from Denmark. Despite being physically impaired by polio, she won a silver medal at the 1952 Helsinki Olympics, bringing awareness to the therapeutic benefits of horseback riding across Europe and North America.
One thing about the horse from a physical
According to Priscilla, what also makes horses unique is that their movement closely resembles our own.
when a person rides the horse imparts movement to this rider, the same kind of movement that we get when we walk. If I walk with a child that is born with cerebral palsy and they're never going to know how to have a regular or typical gait pattern, or you have someone that has had an amputation and then they have to have a prosthetic leg, so now their gait pattern is going to be a little off. Well, you can put them on the horse, and the movement of the horse mimics that human gait pattern. So it is moving their pelvis forward and backward, side to side, and then in a rotational this way. All these three movements that we make when we walk. So from a physical standpoint, it is offering an opportunity to relearn skills or perhaps learn new skills, and to also work on balance and keeping your head upright and having good motor control.
But more importantly, Priscilla says, it's the human-horse connection that plays a pivotal role in making this work so successful. Through grooming, feeding, riding, and caring for the horses, children with physical, emotional, and cognitive challenges, including autism spectrum disorder and cerebral palsy, are able to find growth in both body and mind. As Priscilla's work continued, she began to meet people who believed in what she was doing, people who would eventually help her build hope.
The perspective over time has changed. So at the moment, we have Coach Xiao Zhao. I met him when I was first at this very first stable at Aimashur. And when I met him, I recognized that he had a very strong aptitude with working with horses, and he is from Inner Mongolia. He is good with horses, he's very honest, he's very kind, and he began to help Hope gain more respect at the stables. He also made sure that my horse was taken care of.
And not only Xiao Zhao, over time, the Hope team grew, attracting more like-minded people. Today, the organization has over 10 dedicated staff members and around 300 active volunteers.
I have felt like it is a profound and wonderful thing that I have been able to go to China and live in China. It has significantly enriched my life. I have very dear friends, like I was just saying, Coach Zhao, Luna. She no longer works for Hope, but she was the woman, Sun Haixia, who helped us get our red stamp and our NGO status, and Lucia and Liang Hao. So we have so many dear friends there. And then we learned so much about the Chinese culture that it enhanced our worldview. Being in China was such a wonderful experience that I felt like it was an education. Every bit is valuable as what I learned in the books.
Now Priscilla has returned to the United States, but each year she would come back to Beijing to support the team. In her 60s, she remains fully committed to her cause, continuing her work in equine-assisted services while also passing on her knowledge to the next generation.
The stable where we are right now.
Over the years, Hope has moved a few times, seeking for stables large enough to accommodate its growth. Today, it's based at an equestrian club called Dongfang Mahui in Beijing's Shunyi district, founded by a French couple.
The stable owner, Joelle and Vanessa, the French couple that run the stables, all of those folks believe in hope, but they also understand horses. The horses need to have very special care. You can't just put them in a stall and then leave them in the stall and expect them to be like healthy and I'm going to say happy, but that's a human emotion, but for them to be okay in their mind and in their body. So at Dongfang Mahui, all of those folks understand horses, they understand what they need, and they help us to be able to keep our horses healthy, both mentally and physically.
Currently, Hope has 4 horses.
Let me first introduce Da Bao, who is now retired. He's from Northern Europe, with a thick, fluffy coat that children especially love to touch. Born in 1993, he's now enjoying his retirement in the Mongolia Autonomous Region. Then there is Heishan, or Black Mountain, born in 2005, a very gentle horse. We also have 2 Chinese draft horses, traditionally used for pulling carts. They have a steady gait and are calm, making them ideal for heavier children. One is Moor, our largest horse, and the other is Tank, a bit shorter but very steady when working with children. Our youngest horse is An An, who joined us in 2025.
Li Shuanghong has been with the organization for 7 years. Originally working as a technician for a foreign company, she was immediately drawn to the idea of horseback riding therapy when she first encountered it.
I'm an equestrian enthusiast, so I could easily understand the idea behind this work. When you go near a horse, you feel your breathing slow down and your emotions begin to relax. Horses are often like mirrors. They allow you to see yourself. And when you ride, your whole body gets engaged, constantly challenging your balance, which is good for your body. So, when I first heard about this program, I immediately felt this was something I could be part of.
Like many volunteers, Li began as a sidewalker, walking alongside the horse to keep the rider safe. She then learned to lead horses as a horse handler. And after years of training, she's now an instructor at Hope. What keeps Li dedicated is seeing the progress children with special needs make and the smiles that come with it. Li says one participant nicknamed Tom left a deep impression on her. Tom was diagnosed with learning difficulties and autism spectrum disorder, and he began therapeutic horseback riding at Hope at the age of 10.
When Tom's mother asked Priscilla about his future, she said Tom would have his own life and friends. At the time, his mother couldn't believe it. Back then, Tom had a very difficult temper and refused to follow rules. He was extremely hard to manage, and his mother simply couldn't imagine him having that kind of future. But many years later, before our horse Da Bao retired, Tom would travel 2 hours by subway every day to Hope and help take care of him. When Da Bao left, he told his father, "I think I can keep living my life just like Da Bao." I believe he has become what Priscilla once predicted. He now has his own life and has grown into a very independent young man.
After graduating from high school, Tom became a volunteer at Hope, helping out at the stable and caring for the horses. Those around him have noticed that he has become more gentle and calm and much more at ease interacting with others. Today, Tom also helps in Hope's art workshop, making handicrafts and selling them at markets to raise funds for the organization.
小果今年是16岁，他09年出生的。
Feng Tao is the parent of a participant who has a rare genetic condition that affects learning, as well as ADHD, which impacts attention and impulse control. About a decade ago, Feng first learned about hope through another parent of a child with special needs.
然后我们说去看看吧，然后我们俩就
The first time he brought his son to Hope, Priscilla was busy preparing for a summer camp, with her own son and his classmates volunteering alongside her. Interestingly, it was the father who became more curious than the son. Feng soon decided to get involved himself as a volunteer.
记得当时安测员的培训的时候，我就觉得他既培训了我们当时的那批志愿者。
I remember during the sidewalker training, they didn't just train the volunteers, they also invited all the staff from the equestrian club to participate. The training was led by Ms. Manuela from the UK and lasted 3 days. I found this program really meaningful. It doesn't only focus on supporting people with special needs through its activities, it also places great importance on creating an inclusive and accepting environment.
我们做志愿者身份的过程中，就是一个很小。
Volunteering here has been a truly joyful experience, especially working as a sidewalker and accompanying children during their riding sessions. You work together with the horse, the child, the instructor, and the horse handler. And you get to witness a child move from fear, not daring to get on the horse, to gradually becoming familiar and comfortable, until one day they break into a smile and begin interacting with you. That whole process feels deeply healing.
很疗愈的过程。
Several years later, Feng began bringing his son to Hope regularly.
他前10节课2个多月，将近3个月，是做马。
At first, his son focused on groundwork, feeding the horses, leading them, and slowly building trust and connection. Now 16 years old, he comes to Hope every week for riding sessions and other activities. Over time, Feng has witnessed gradual changes in his son. He used to talk non-stop to the sidewalker while riding, but now he's able to focus more on the horse and engage with it. His balance and core strength have also improved.
他在这个环境中不仅是骑马。
Here it's not just about riding. The children also take part in crafts and other activities. Everyone shows an exceptionally high level of acceptance towards children with special needs, while at the same time maintaining clear boundaries and principles. They strike that balance very well.
他们能把这两者之间平衡好。
我叫在在，然后我是通过
At just 23 years old and freshly out of college, Zai Zai joined Hope in September 2025. She was introduced to the program by a friend and has been coming back ever since. She now volunteers as a sidewalker.
我觉得 Hope 是一个特别温暖的一个大家庭。
I think Hope is a very warm and loving family. What motivates me to come here every week are the children themselves. You don't want to miss a single moment of their growth. Even the smallest bit of progress can be deeply moving because for them, every step forward is hard-earned. Being able to accompany them as they grow and to see them getting better and better is a very warm and joyful experience.
幸福的事情。
Each year, around 90 people with special needs participate in therapeutic horseback riding sessions at Hope. Priscilla says they strive to be an exemplary service provider while continuing to advocate for support for people with special needs.
Teach other people, because I want to teach other folks how to do adaptive riding and equine assisted services. But even more important, I want them to understand that people with special needs are people too. It doesn't matter if, like we all walk a little different. We might have different languages we speak in, but we are all people too. And I feel like that is part of our mission. And I feel like we keep going in that direction, and that will be wonderful.
From dedicated volunteers to passionate staff, and of course, the incredible horses themselves, Hope is transforming lives one step and one ride at a time. As we've heard today, the real magic lies not just in the horses, but in the unwavering belief that every child deserves a chance to grow, thrive, and find their voice. And with that, we come to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and a special thanks to Priscilla and the Hope team for sharing their story. If you'd like to hear more inspiring life stories, you can find us at radio.cgtn.com or on major podcast platforms. I'm Xingyu. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.